I've been a professional musician in Los Angeles for almost 20 years, and I've always had a proclivity to the human spirit and the stories that emerge from that. I recently found myself looking for deeper answers from other musicians and realized I couldn't find them.
Hi, I'm Rachel Mellis. I'm a professional musician in Los Angeles.
We live in a world where everything is recorded on video or audio, and yet 99% of musicians that have ever lived have no documentation of who they are, where they come from, lost stories, dreams, and passions.
Hi, my name is Stephan Smith, and I'm a professional musician in Los Angeles.
We are in your movie and TV soundtracks, in your theaters, the clubs you go to, even when you're listening to your favorite artist. We are a part of your world and you don't even know it. Welcome to Musicians Talk About, the series where we find out what life as a professional musician is really like.
Hi, I'm Dan Kaneyuki, and I'm a professional musician in Los Angeles.
They've been supportive in the fact that they provided what they could for lessons, because my parents are struggling, They're very happy to see that I took it as a passion and where things have gone with it.
Yeah.
So, but they, as far as like having the parents where they're like showing up at every concert or being the like chaperone on the orchestra trip, it wasn't that, because they were busy working. But I kind of appreciated it too, because it let me have my own thing. They understood that I have like a talent for what I do, and they wanted me to pursue it the best I could, but I mean, they're supportive in the way they can be, and I'm okay with that.
My parents were at every single thing. They were super supportive. My mom played piano and was a music minor at Cal State Long Beach. She sang and did all that stuff. My parents, I'd say, they just eliminated any obstacle I would have.
Okay.
Like as far as pursuing it. Like it was always an option. If I wanted to do it, it was gonna be an option. You need a saxophone, you got it.
My parents are both musicians professionally, so I grew up around it, so they were definitely supportive. But they had a music academy when I was growing up, so they were like, whatever instrument you want to learn. My mom was my first flute teacher, so she was the first one to encourage me. She came into my room one night and she was like, "Do you want to learn the flute?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And so she brought in a head joint before bed and she showed me how to make a sound, and I fell in love with flute, and that was it. From there, they were incredibly supportive and, of course, came to everything and just cheered all of us on. I always think this is really cute when people ask, "What do you do on your day off?" That's the one thing that makes me be like, you have no idea, like what goes into doing what we do, and the hours and it's like,
we don't get that.
What? You're saying two words together and I don't think I understand what they mean,
It's the weekend. Why aren't you off? That's when we perform. We don't get the weekends off.
We practice and then, we do all that. So that's always a funny one.
What do you practice?
What do you practice?
What do you practice?
What
you
are you practicing for?
Don't you? Yeah. Well, what are you practicing? Are you in a band?
Get them to understand why you're so busy, why practicing is so important, how that's like a necessary thing that's besides the actual work that you do. You even have to spend time. I mean, for me as a composer, I have to spend time, just reaching out to people on Twitter and DMing them like, "Hey, check out my music," or things like, and that takes time.
Yeah, and everything changes so fast for us as well. With somebody who has a 9-to-5 job, you can't really blame them for not understanding, because it's a completely different structure, or a lack of structure really than they have. So, and then it's like, "Hey, I know we had lunch plans, but I have a session now."
A lot of people learn a task and they do it, and they do it for 30 years, and then it's over. And we're just like, "Well, why you keep doing this?" So it's like, well, there's more to learn. There's endless amounts to learn. So it's like, I think we're all about growth, because for me, if I'm not growing, I'm dying. My dad listened to a lot of classic rock, and I like that. I like all kinds of music, so I never really hated it. country's not my jam.
Right.
But my mom loves country and loves to sing it very loudly. So I would definitely yell at her in the car when I was like 16. I was like, Mom, turn that off. I always tried to convince my dad to like jazz, and he does. But like, it was always like, come on, Dad, check this. Yeah, he was doing it for me. It's like, I was like, all right, Dad, can you name the saxophone player? And he'd be like, oh, I got this one. No, I don't got this one.
We're pretty similar, I think, in our taste. I mean, I listen to some hip hop and rap. I'm probably the only one in my family, I think, that does. But we never really had arguments.
I mean, my family always was super Motown driven and R&B, hip hop. My mom hates rap.
Okay.
So that was not allowed in the house. No, I mean, classical was just weird in the house because I was the only one who liked it, Gotcha. So like when I was playing it, it was just kind of like, my mom appreciated it, my brothers hated it. Yeah, because I would blast it. We had a few fights about that. I have a twin brother, and he was very much a jock football player dude. And then my older brothers are also twins. But I was definitely only the musical one. But I kind of like how I grew up. It made me really appreciate what I had.
It was really, really wonderful. And I knew I was lucky at the time. But drawbacks, I don't know. I think maybe the only thing I could think of, and this doesn't have anything to do with my family, but with other people, sometimes there's an assumption, oh, you grew up in a musical family, so you were born with it, so it's innate. It doesn't matter whether your family's musical or not, or somewhere in between. You create the life you want to have. At the same time, someone could have that and not take advantage of the things that are there. So, but yeah, mostly it was great.
I really liked the balance that I had growing up because my mom knew, she had an idea but wasn't fully involved. I played a lot of sports and I was good at math. They wanted, music was kind of like this thing that was like, oh, you're good at it, you should do it. Yeah. They always asked me how I'm going to make a living doing it, and so having that in my mind at a young age helped a lot. My dad particularly, he was, was like, okay, if you're going to do this, tell me how, and those were the hard questions that a 16-year-old doesn't really ask himself. They're jabs, but it's in good fun and whatnot. But that just makes me like, oh no, I'm doing this. I'm sticking to this. Once I started getting pretty good at it and started doing it, then everyone's like excited because like, oh my gosh, there's a musician in the family. You go to grandma and grandpa's, you go to Thanksgiving, you're like, bring your instrument, play us a song, So it's like they're stoked about it.
From a young age, my parents always told me, like, whatever you want to do, that you can do it. You just have to really put everything into it. I know that I've been super busy with work, and it may seem like mom or dad that I don't call as often or etc. It doesn't mean that I don't love you guys. I love that you are always continuously thrilled and telling your friends about whatever, and it helps me stay focused on what I need to do. And I'll be better about calling.
Mom and Dad, thank you very much for all your support through all the years. I'm going to continue to make you proud, and I will call more often as well. I've been getting into that little trap as well. It is nice to go home and have dinner sometimes.
Thank you for supporting me endlessly, and just no matter what path I want to choose, being behind me and encouraging happiness above all else, no matter what the decision is for the path. And to my grandpa, who used to say I was a starving artist, and now he says, oh, you're not a starving artist, now you're just an artist. So thanks, Grandpa. That means a lot, and I'll try to do you proud.